Spurs are back to their trophy bottling ways, Leeds' transfer strategy is genuinely diabolical, Rashford claims Man United are a reactionary club, and UEFA are still total cowards. This is DMAC Daily. Now that my GOAT Ange has departed and the loyal legend Heung-min Son has left, I can now hate watch Spurs to my full potential. But viewing this performance through a more objective lens, and I actually think Spurs played relatively well, at least for 80 minutes or so. Last week they were dismantled by Bayern, but this display was a stark contrast. Thomas Frank's side physically outworked PSG for large periods. Kudus looked sharp. The back three seemed fairly organised, until it all went pear-shaped, that is. PSG suddenly decided to turn on the style. Their debutant, Lucas Chevalier, had a rollercoaster debut, made an error with that second goal, but redeemed himself in the shootout victory as PSG won their 5th trophy of 2025. It is important to note that this was literally PSG's first game of the entire season. They'd only been back in training for a week and hadn't even played a friendly game prior, as opposed to Spurs, who had already featured in 6 pre-season contests. Not sure if that bodes too well for Spurs, but maybe it was actually 5D chess moves from Thomas Frank. Think about it, the last manager to win a trophy at Tottenham immediately got sacked. Just saying. On a more serious note though, I think what is abundantly clear with this Spurs team is that they lack depth, particularly going forward. Eze and Savinho are a must at this point. Staying in England, and Leeds' recruitment this season has been fascinating. As we all know, the gulf in class between the Championship and the Premier League is increasing, which is why in the last 2 seasons, all the newly promoted teams have been immediately relegated. Leeds were promoted with a squad valued at 247 mil. That's over 115 mil less than the 17th highest valued Prem team. So Leeds have come up with an innovative way of counteracting this discrepancy by assembling a team of physical monsters. So far, Leeds have signed 8 players this window. Now, Gabriel Goodmanson joined first from Lille, and he's only 5'11", not a giant, but for a left back, not exactly vertically challenged. The rest, however, all above 6 foot. Mecha, 6'1", Longstaff, 6'2", Bornau, 6'3", Biol, 6'3", Stack, 6'4", Perry, 6'6", and the latest signing, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is 6'2". That's no coincidence. Physical prowess is going to be their not-so-secret weapon, a throwback to the Tony Pulis Stoke era, a team that utilized set pieces and sheer physicality to survive. In the past 2 years, we've seen teams like Man City setting up with a back 4 of centre-backs, or even Arsenal becoming set-piece merchants themselves. Physicality is clearly a massive factor in modern English football. Will it be enough for Leeds to survive though? We'll have to wait and see. Moving to Barcelona, or should I say Manchester, as Marcus Rashford has spoken out extensively about the club's complications during a 40-minute interview on the Rest is Football podcast. Check it out if you haven't already, but there were some notable highlights. He mentioned that post Sir Alex Ferguson, the club's strategy has been reactionary, highlighting that during Fergie's 27-year tenure, the principles of playing the United way were adopted by not just the first team, but by the academy too, which is perhaps why so many academy players previously thrived at senior level. Whereas today, United are constantly switching gears, an approach Rashford believes is hurting them. Quote, I feel like we've had that many different managers and different ideas and different strategies in order to win. You end up in no man's land. I think he's bang on the money here. I mean, Solskjaer's philosophy was a 180 from Mourinho's, and Amorim's was a 180 from Ten Hag's. Rashford is adamant that United need to adopt a similar approach to the way Liverpool did with Klopp, entrusting in the coach's philosophy from the get-go, even if results don't immediately improve. Maybe Amorim is the long-term solution, but recent history has shown that United are far too susceptible to switching gears, to becoming reactionary. Some other quick-fire transfer news, and the Ibiza Final, Giovanni Leone is on his way to Anfield for 35 million euros. Meanwhile, Bafore Diakite joins Bournemouth for the same fee. AC Milan have secured a double swoop for defenders Zachary Athakame from Young Boys and Connie de Winter from Genoa. Milan are also closing in on the loan signing of Rasmus Højlund with the option to buy for 45 mil, and Jacob Ramsey is on his way to Newcastle for 40 mil. And now, on a far more serious note, we got to talk about UEFA's banner on display at the Super Cup. Now, this comes off the back of significant social media backlash. For those who are unaware, UEFA made a tweet following the shock death of Suleiman Al Obeid, also known as the Palestinian Pele, but they purposely chose not to include the horrifying details of his death, that he was killed by Israeli forces while seeking humanitarian aid. paid. So people were rightfully outraged by UEFA's overt cowardice on display in the face of such barbarism. And then Mo Salah, a global superstar, directly called them out on Twitter. Feeling the subsequent public pressure, UEFA made the decision for their first big fixture of the 25-26 season to include a banner visible in the stadium and on screens worldwide that said, "Stop killing children, stop killing civilians." They then posted on Twitter saying, "The message is loud and clear." But here lies the problem, UEFA. It's not loud and clear. It's not anything. Who's killing the children and civilians you're referring to? Where is this killing taking place? Who are the victims? There's no indicative colors on display, no flags, nothing. These are intentionally vague and empty words. It's a cop-out. UEFA could take a meaningful stance. They could ban Israel from their footballing competitions until the genocide of Palestine stops, until the apartheid and illegal occupation of Gaza and the West Bank stops. That would be meaningful action, not tokenizing two Palestinian children in a UEFA medal ceremony with an ambiguous banner before kickoff. It's also ironic because they've fined multiple clubs in the past for their own banners speaking up for Palestine. The hypocrisy and spinelessness of UEFA simply knows no bounds. Anyways, that's today's DMAC Daily. See you tomorrow.